No, let's actually take a legal definition for right.
Oh, okay, here we go, Mumbo.
Well, what's the legal definition about peeing on a window?
Well, let's see if that's in the Constitution. Well, it's not in the Constitution, so I guess you can pee on the window. It's KBKW's Coffee Talk. It is now 7:10, and from Blind Justice, we have Mike with us. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, good morning, Doug.
And so we've got a little rain on the way, but by tomorrow afternoon we'll get back into the sunshine. Now, what did you think of the 4th of July celebration?
I thought it went well. It was really good. I had all the bounce houses and things for the kids, vendors. The weather was great. I think about a little after 5, a little bit of rain came in. I think it let off before the fireworks. It went off pretty well.
It wetted the yard down enough because our neighbors are blasting fireworks, and you get remnants coming down on you, and so sometimes I have to go out and squirt the house down. Didn't have to do it,
right?
Because of that. Now, of course, for people that don't realize who you are, you're the individual that they see on Facebook. In fact, we're on Facebook Live at this particular moment right now, and also you. What is your essential stand on the homeless issue? I know that you feel that there should be more public money coming from some direction, whether it's the city, the county, or the feds. I mean, what is your feeling on what a solution would be?
Yeah, sure. So for homelessness, it's a very complex situation. There's not just one reason why a person becomes homeless or stays homeless. So I don't think there's necessarily a single answer for a solution to cover every single person. So locally, I think that there's a lot that we can do as a community, and I'm more in favor for a private sector solution than a government sector solution. So, but as far as what can the government sector do, I think there are plenty of funds available at the state or federal level, rather than trying to go for the city budget. Things that are already, these pools of money that are sitting there waiting for grants or waiting for the right verbiage to go up the chain.
Yeah.
So the funds can be,
the drill, yeah.
The bureaucracy, trying to navigate that system is a nightmare. At every level, for people that are advocating for the homeless themselves, trying to get help here locally. We had cases where guys have come up to us on the street during the protest and sat down next to me, and after a few minutes saying, "Hey, tell me their life story," and then said, I just used yesterday, I don't want to use again, I had a bad trip, help me. And then we go on this 2-day extravaganza trying to call every number we could find and getting people to try to get this person help. He's like, when a junkie comes up to you and says, "Hey, I want to get clean, I want to go to detox," like, what do you do,
So what were the ways that you tried to get him help and where you kind of hit a roadblock?
Yeah, sure. So first off, I started calling my wife, and then I called some friends we know that works for the crisis line, and just, it was a Saturday morning, like 11 a.m., and everything was basically closed. Everything we started calling, they were calling a lot while I was talking with him. My whole role was really just sitting with him and making sure he didn't do something he didn't want to do, because part of his concern was, I don't want to relapse. I don't want to do something. He got in a fight the night before. He thought he was going to die, and he's like, I think I'm going to hurt somebody or hurt myself. I'm afraid what's going to happen, if I'm not in a place where somebody's going to watch me and help me not, relapse. And
there was no place for him to go?
Right. So we tried hospitals locally. We tried, we called the hospital in Elma. They said they couldn't do anything. There's a Harbor Crest, so is a rehab or detox center here, but
right.
They only take private insurance right now. So he had state insurance, which limits the options. But that's the case for most people in situations of homelessness. Either have state insurance or no insurance. And
now the state insurance, what, the AppleCare?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and they don't do detox, I take it.
Was that where?
They don't do detox, the state health insurance?
Oh, no, some places take state health insurance that do detox, yeah. So that's what we were trying to find, is places that were open.
But not here.
Right. So there was nothing in the county that could help them. There is a crisis center, Columbia Wellness, over in Hoquiam.
Mm-hmm.
And they do mainly focus on mental health stuff. And I think part of that, they also look at the detox issue.
Mm-hmm.
but their focus is mental health, and they didn't have any beds available at that point. And
now, what was his issue? Was it cocaine, or not, cocaine, or
meth.
opiates, meth?
Yeah. And so we then got pushed out. The county people just started directed us, the people that we were contacting the different hospitals and centers, continued to push us further east and into Thurston County. We called over there. Eventually, somebody got him a ride to St. Pete and sat with him for a couple hours over there. And even though they went in and said that he was there for detox, they let him sit in the ER for a few hours. A guy that's having serious withdrawal issues and concerned about hurting himself or others, and watches the emergency room fill and empty at least 2 times in this 2 hours. So he was getting upset, more and more upset, as he felt he was being treated subpar, because all these other people came in with boo-boos or scrapes. And
well, yeah. Plus, he's going to be paranoid because he's coming off meth.
Exactly.
So he's probably not going to react like he would normally react if he were
less
not in withdrawal.
Yeah, less lucid, less likely to show grace to the ER staff for having all these people jump the line. And so finally he gets called back and they tell him they don't do detox there anymore. So after having him wait for over 2 hours, they finally tell him there's no detox there, and but they'll get him some paperwork, which is what the answer was for everybody. Like, we've got a list of numbers to call, and so after all that, he was just at the end of his rope. And this is a guy that he was struggling with mental issues like hearing voices and other stuff.
So he needs to be institutionalized at least for a period of time.
He needs serious help, and that's the case with a lot of people on the street. Not everybody, but a lot of them. And so trying to navigate the system. So that was Saturday, and then after that fell through, and the numbers that they gave, they were closed or full on beds or couldn't see him until Monday or Tuesday. The next direction was like Chehalis and Seattle and all those different places that had things, and it was at 9 o'clock or something at night on Saturday.
Did he end up somewhere?
Not until Sunday night at 9.
Okay, but they finally found a spot.
Finally, after all that, a bed opened up, and he got in, and it just was just very eye-opening for us.
Now, how did blind justice get started?
Well, it was I guess it was on the heels of the ordinances that the City Council of Aberdeen passed May 23rd, the 6626, 6627. So they passed a sit-lie ordinance and a aggressive solicitation ordinance. And so leading up to that, we went to the council meetings and spoke against them and against the ordinances, not against the council, to be clear. And just try to encourage them to find other solutions that are more compassionate, that address the issues. Like some of the things that people pointed out. Nurses, people in crisis care came and spoke also against the ordinances, saying, hey, we don't have the services here. We don't have the things available to help people that are struggling in these most dire situations. That's what we need to focus on, rather than writing things that make it...
But if it interferes with people that are... tax-paying citizens that are shopping downtown and things like that, they should feel safe. Shouldn't have to step over people that are laying on the street or sitting on the street or whatever. I mean, how do you answer the people that are saying we feel that this should not go on, on our downtown areas or on our streets because of safety issues?
Sure, yeah. No, so that's part of this whole thing that it's gotten really conflated, where people say there's two sides of this, and you're supporting people pooping and peeing on the streets and blocking doorways. And I was like, no, I don't know anybody who's saying that. I don't know anybody who's in favor of...
Because these ordinances will prevent that from happening, or make it to where the police can take action.
No, because those actions, those behaviors are already on the books. There are already laws on those things that people have issues with, right? Blocking sidewalks, blocking businesses, public urination.
So what you're saying is that the police aren't doing their job?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying there's already ordinances on the book. So what people want is for the police to crack down on things, well, then they already have the tools to do that. So it's writing another ordinance.
But they didn't have the tools to give the times. In other words, we want everything to be clear at this such and such a time, such and such a time, and then you'll be able to be here, but at 6 or 7 or whatever the ordinances say, then you have to move along. So you feel that that's overstepping the bounds of the city, or the city's overstepping its bounds to tell people what they can and cannot do on the street downtown?
Yeah, kind of. It's let me try to rephrase that, because it's kind of vague on the questions. I think that it's an overstepping of government reach or government control to try to dictate what another human being can do with their body, especially in a public space. Especially when the confines of that dictation don't specify any kind of harm to anybody else, right? So the way the ordinance reads, it's sitting or lying down. It doesn't say any other behaviors attached to that. And that's the two positions the human body takes to rest.
Right. But so your belief is that the city or the police would use it to the extreme, and so nobody could rest or stand in one spot in the city without being accosted by the police. Is that what your feeling is?
Oh no, I don't believe that they would do that. I think that legally they would have to do that in order to avoid a lawsuit, because otherwise it becomes a discriminatory law.
Well, there's a big difference between just laying in the street or sleeping in the street,
sure,
and then just taking a momentary time to rest or look at the view that you might be looking at when you're standing still or sitting somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could, if you were law enforcement, you could abuse that. But by the same token, if you don't do anything, then you have private citizens that are just downtown trying to shop,
right,
that feel insecure. They're getting panhandled or whatever. They have rights too.
Okay, so let's talk about the rights of the shoppers and the business owners. What constitutionally protected rights are being challenged by the by
what? Somebody sleeping in your doorway of your business?
Mm-hmm.
You think that's okay?
No.
But the businessman doesn't have any rights to have that person removed?
No, nobody's saying that.
Well, what are you saying then? I don't understand.
Right, so that's what I was saying, that this issue gets conflated, where people are saying that the ordinance is about blocking businesses or blocking sidewalks, and it's absolutely not. That's not the wording in the ordinance at all. The word block is nowhere in there. So those are already laws on the book. Blocking of right-of-way is already a law. Sitting or trespassing on private property is already a law.
But they don't have the time element like this particular ordinance does.
Right, those laws are in effect 24 hours a day. So why do you need to limit it?
That's
to...
not how. No, I don't. If that was the case, then you wouldn't have people sleeping in doorways and hallways if it was enforced 24 hours a day.
I didn't say it was enforced. I said the law is in effect 24 hours a day. So enforcement is another thing.
Well, what's wrong with specifying the hours that would allow people to use some of that downtown area to rest at night, but just be gone in the morning? What's the issue with that? Why is that such a bad situation?
Right, because the hours that you're not allowing, because if you're allowing some hours for exercising your freedoms, then by default you're confining people, or you're not allowing people to exercise their freedoms for the remainder of the hours. So that's the problem.
But the people shouldn't have freedom just to get in somebody's doorway.
Correct. That's not what this ordinance is about. That's not what the wording is in at all. It's simply sitting down or lying on the sidewalk. So that's anywhere on the sidewalk in the downtown sector. It doesn't specify blocking or doorways or anything.
I don't know. I think you're getting way too nitpicky on this.
No, it's actually the verbiage in the ordinance.
Well, I know. I read the ordinance already. Well, we need to take a break, and then we'll be right back. And we also have a caller coming in on the line. No, we have a flashing light you won't see.
Okay. Yeah.
And so we have a call.
Okay.
I just have to take my break here.
Message Gamma Security Group on Facebook. Want to make sure your child is safe with their other parent, or need to have a legal document served quickly? Message Gamma Security Group. Local, experienced, professional.
Got one more spot.
Gamma Security Group. Message Gamma Security Group on Facebook today.
Saturdays from 3 to 4 at Cannabis A to Z. Listen as experts discuss industry.
And after this, we'll be on the air.
Medical dispensaries, storefronts, and other partners.
Now, what you'll hear just before we have to take a break, all of a sudden the bumper music will automatically be played by the computer, and then that's when we have 30 seconds to wrap it up before we get to the bottom of the hour.
Got it.
It's KBKW's Coffee Talk. 7:25 is the time. We have Mike from Blind Justice as our guest, and we have a listener on the line. Hi, you're on the air. Morning. I believe so, yeah.
6 a.m. to 11.
Is it 6 a.m. to 11? Okay.
Correct. Yeah. Oh, well, what's the point of the question? Where are we getting at?
Yeah, he's there.
I'm still waiting for a question. Do you have a question? Well, your definition is misunderstood because the word poop or pee or blocking the sidewalk or blocking businesses are nowhere in the ordinance. So maybe you're reading different ordinances, but the one that we're discussing is 6626, and that doesn't discuss any of the things you just said.
Okay. That's enough of that. All right. Anyway, the question I have is this ordinance is taken from another city ordinance that passed muster.
Right.
So,
well, what do you mean by passed muster?
What do you mean passed muster?
Yeah.
It's an ordinance that has evidently stood some legal challenges because they're in place in different areas of the state.
Well, just because they're on the books doesn't mean that they've upheld legal challenges, right? So this
yeah, but you can legally challenge anything. You can legally challenge anything till hell freezes over.
Sure.
And accomplish nothing.
Right. But to say that it because it's on the books that it's legit is kind of
But by saying that it's being used and it isn't being challenged, it must mean that there's no challenge to be made.
Or it means that the people are apathetic, which has been most of the experience that we've had in the last 44 days doing this protest and talking with people, is that there's a high level of apathy amongst the general populace. That
apathy about what?
About getting involved with standing up for what's going on in their community.
Well, that's what they're trying to do by getting some laws that prevent some of this from occurring downtown.
Well, that's what 8 people did. That's not the majority of the populace. 8 people being the people who voted for it, the council members that voted in favor.
But you're discarding all the people that are probably very much in favor of the ordinance. You're saying, well, it's only 8 people. It's a lot more than 8 people.
No, I know more than 8 people support it because a lot of people say they support the ordinance. But I would say more than that. From what I've just experienced in the last 44 days, talking with people on the street and going door to door for petitioning, there's more people, vast majority of people, say either I'm going to stay out of it, or I'm going to stay neutral, or I'm afraid to put my name on it for repercussions from the city government. And that's surprising to me that that's the state of condition here.
Well, but with that, we're going to have to take our break. It is 7:29, so we'll take that break, and then after we're back out, which will be about 7 or 8 minutes from now, we'll continue to talk with Mike from Blind Justice and take your phone calls right here on Coffee Talk. Okay.
I hope you step in poop. Well, if you want to address that guy's concern, like when we get back.
Jennings.
Huh?
That's Dave Jennings. He is a prison worker.
Oh, okay.
He runs. He teaches job type classes.
Yeah. But if you want to address the walking down the street thing, like I mean, on my cane, I take a wide berth when I walk with my cane, and usually I walk with either my kid or my wife next to me, and we'd never.
Hang on a second.
Yeah.
in Washington.
KBKW, we're not taking any more calls until about 7 minutes from now. All right, bye.
Yeah, so we've never tripped over anybody or had that kind of encounter, and that's one of the things where I'm puzzled.
My wife has had, I haven't, but my wife's had numerous, especially in the Walmart parking lot.
Yeah.
Okay, the door, let it cool down. It's real hot in here.
First death connected with the cave rescue in Thailand. A former Thai Navy SEAL lost consciousness after delivering oxygen to the 13 people trapped in the flooded cave. Passed out, could not be revived. On Wall Street right now, stocks modestly higher. The Dow is up about 17 points. NASDAQ 45 points higher. The S&P is up 9. More details at srnnews.com. Attention business owners, do you want a stimulus package that really works? Before you spend thousands of dollars more than you should on your next building project, listen to this. General Steel has a stimulus package designed to help you save as much as half the cost of conventional construction on your next building. As much as half. That's right, General Steel can save you thousands of dollars with a pre-engineered steel building designed for your business or church. How about a 50 by 40 building?
So many different stations run out of here.
6.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we've got KBKW, Bigfoot Country, Timber Country, Sunny, the Jet, and the Quake, which is hard rock.
Nice.
Okay, we still have 2, 3 minutes before we're back.
Almost forgot. I'm on live again. Hey guys. I haven't touched that thing in a minute. Took my phone headset off, so I wasn't even remembering that you guys are over there. So if you're watching online, hello. If you're listening to the radio, we're going to be back in a couple minutes.
The South Beach Regional Fire Authority is seeking a maintenance and operations levy of $591,000 for fire protection and emergency medical services. That's about 83 cents per thousand of assessed property value in South Grace Harbor and North Pacific counties. Fire District Number 2 and Central Park is seeking to replace their expiring emergency.
It's gonna be hot. The phone's still going crazy. I just don't answer during my break.
Yeah.
Ballots will be mailed out July 20th to start the 18-day voting period. The voter's guide is already available online.
Now, when were you in the military?
Now you're up to
03, no, sorry, 02 to 13.
Oh, so you were in, what, 9 years?
11.
Or 11 years?
Yeah.
Let's go to Paul Sylvia on site. That's right, Ray. We can confirm this
Army
is not
Marines?
news.
Army.
Come into the 5-star location and take a test drive. Then enter to win a 1-year, 15,000-mile lease on either a brand new Tacoma.
Yeah, I went in years ago, 68.
During the event, the hard-to-find Tacoma double cabs are
Army as well?
$3,000
Yeah.
off
Nice.
MSRP.
Yep, a month after I graduated from high school, I was in.
Yeah.
Just wanted to. Didn't want to. My uncle was gonna. My uncle
So,
was going to. Pay,
We're still on live, just so you know, if you don't want to put anything out. Yeah.
By the way, they can't hear the calls.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when we get a call, they can't hear it.
Didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So then we'll be talking to somebody, and what's being said?
Yeah.
That person's on hold.
What's that?
You better something on hold for
in a new deal with a
Okay.
Brazilian aircraft company. Another incident at a Philadelphia Starbucks. Those stories next.
Okay, we'll be ready in 2 minutes to go on the air. So hang in there.
3606 Facebook page.
No idea if I'm still on anymore.
Yeah, it was actually my wife's uncle. He was a millionaire. Painted the space table the first time his company did.
Really?
That kind of shit, yeah.
That's cool.
So anyway, he didn't want me to go in the army,
Yeah.
and so he took me to lunch at the Catalyst, and then offered to pay for my college, a vehicle,
Wow.
and a place to live.
Yeah.
2 things: don't go in the army, and don't go into radio.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, first off, I said, I want to go in the military.
Yeah.
Because I'm probably going to get drafted, although I wouldn't have, because when I was in the military, my number came up and it was like 351 or something.
Yeah.
And then secondly, I was going into, I was going to be trained as a combat reporter.
Okay.
Because that was the school that I signed up for. That's the school I went to, and lo and behold, that's what instead of sending me to Vietnam, they sent me to Germany. There was 61 in the class, and they were all services at Fort
Okay.
Bend Harrison. And in the Army, there was 21 of us.
Right.
One went to Korea, one went to Germany, everyone else went to Vietnam.
Yeah.
And I was the one that went to Germany.
Yeah.
Just pure ass luck.
Wow.
That's how I got into this business.
Yeah.
It's what I wanted to do anyway.
Was that old Robin Williams movie?
Yeah.
Good Morning.
Except I did production stuff. I wasn't on the air live.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
wasn't until I became a civilian.
Yeah.
It's KBKW's Coffee Talk. It is 7:37. And we have Mike from Blind Justice, and we have a listener on the line. Hi, you're on the air. Hi.
Oh, De Oppresso Liber? It means to liberate the oppressed. So to free the enslaved, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep.
Bye-bye. Where does that come from? Because I don't know.
Oh, it's the Special Forces motto. Yeah.
So I know you were in the service for 11 years, correct? In the Army for 11 years.
Yeah, I'd rather not, discuss my personal background. If we, I'd rather talk about the issues and the message. I think the message.
Right, but to a lot of people that means something.
Yeah, but I understand that. I understand people want pedigree, people want to see certifications and things like that. But I think it really conflates things and gets people distracted on the message. So
Why?
It's easy to poke holes at a messenger and say, well, if the messenger's flawed, then the message is flawed. I'd rather speak about the message rather than the messenger. So.
Right, but that should be part of what you... Because people need to know that you spend time in the military. That means something.
It does. Yeah, I mean, it does to a lot of people.
Yeah. But it adds a little bit more weight, I believe, to your opinion as well.
Yeah. Well, if you want to go there, then I would love to have conversations with people one-on-one. I don't really like to try to get.
But you're a vet.
Yeah.
Basically, you're a vet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to our listener line. Hi, you're on the air. Hey, Gary.
Hey, Gary.
Sure, it does.
Right.
Well, we're not talking slavery here. We're talking about people that are hanging out on the street corner.
Right. Well, thank you. You too, Gary.
Bye-bye. Okay, let's go to our next caller. Hi, you're on. Whoop, they're gone. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that is an important part of who you are.
Well, I mean, we want to get into the weeds philosophically, I'll love to talk philosophically with you. I think that somebody's background and credentials don't necessarily give them more clout, or maybe
it gives them more credibility. And sometimes when you're trying to convince somebody of something,
right,
that can be the breaker. That can be the make or break.
Yeah, and I get that. That's where a lot of people how a lot of people work out their ideas. I'd rather not hinge my believability on my background, but rather on the truth. I'd love for people to evaluate what I say.
People want to know who's giving them the truth. If they don't trust you, if they don't see where you're coming from, they're going to ignore what you say.
Well, see, that's the thing. I don't want people to trust me. I don't expect people to take my word for it. I expect people to look up what I'm saying. I expect people to research and say, you know what? Let me check to see if what this guy is saying is valid, and then to find out the truth for themselves. I do not claim to have the truth. I only claim to point towards it.
Well, let's go to our listener line. Hi, you're on the air. Morning.
Oh, I love the Second Amendment, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. Yes. Yeah. So there's only a few issues I have. Well, there's several issues I have with things in the Constitution. So one being that when they first wrote it, they said that black people were 3/5 of a person. So there's a problem there. That was amended later. The 13th Amendment still has a clause where slavery is illegal except for punitive action. So you can enslave people if they've broken a law, which makes slavery still legal here in the States, as long as it's done in prisons. True. Yeah. Right. So yeah, there's issues with other things, but it's the No, you can check the original drafting of it, but so yeah, I support the freedoms of the people. Anything that enumerates the freedoms. So the 18th Amendment was prohibition. It was repealed by the 21st. So The Constitution works it out with Supreme Court cases, like you said. It reverses different things that were unjust or were addressing or taking away the freedoms of the people. So I support freedom in its entirety, and if, the Second Amendment tries to guarantee that freedom to bear arms, to have your weapons, and that's fine. Thanks.
And now I have a question for you, because you said you don't like to bring up your military, but then numerous times, and when you were at a city council meeting is when I saw you, you would say, I took an oath when I was in the military, and so-and-so. So, I mean, you are bringing that up. And to tell you the truth, I didn't think about when I took the same oath you did.
Right.
And I didn't think that, well, okay, I'm defending people's rights to lay on the street and do this and that. I was thinking, I was basically in the military. My job was to, if I have to lay my life down for the country, that's how it is. You're government property. You're a GI until you're out.
Yeah, you're a serial number. Yeah.
Yep.
No, and I think, while I was in the military, that's the vast majority of the time. So I'll speak on it briefly, that my understanding of my oath I took to uphold and defend the Constitution was very limited. I actually didn't really put much active thought into that oath, because it was like you said, all right, now I'm just going to go do this job in the military and go to war and do all this stuff that they asked me to do. It wasn't until later when challenged with unlawful orders and things where, oh crap, what do I do here? I'm in a moral dilemma. Do I do this because I'm told, or do I stand up and say, hey, no, this isn't right. This is a violation of human rights, and we need to stand for the freedom for all people.
But we need to go to our listener line. Hi, you're on the air.
Yeah. Right, and that's one of the things that thanks for the question. That's one of the issues that we've addressed with some people, is that it may not be enforced. And I think a lot of people don't think that this thing is going to be enforced, especially not equally, right? A lot of people think, as Doug was alluding to, that it's going to be targeting the people living on the street or homeless and or people in poverty, and not going to be applied to grandma who's taking a break, or kids drawing on the sidewalk, which are both equally violating
Remember,
the law.
this is not the TSA around here.
but no, you have a valid point. With the polarization of the country and the way that things are going, and yeah, we could have a switch in office, and somebody says, "Oh, what laws are on the books that I can dig through and enforce upon the people to either get money, a revenue stream, like you said, or just to simply intimidate the people into complying," which is kind of what we've been seeing the last few weeks.
But do you really think that's going to happen? Because I think that's ridiculous.
I think it's happening right now. If you've watched our page in the last week, the mayor and the city attorney called the police. They dug through the ordinances and tried to cite anything they could to arrest a blind veteran on 4th of July. Like, for what? For sitting in a park celebrating freedom. And tried to cite was a sign violation, which wasn't even accurate. Like, there's exemptions that show
What was the sign? What did the sign say?
The sign said the people's veto. Yeah, 3 words, the people's veto. They were claiming it was an advertisement sign. And I said, well, what is it advertising? And the legal definition we have on our page, if you're curious, but it says it's got to be for profit. It's got to be a commercial thing. And there's
where was this? Now, what was the sign being used? I mean, where was the sign being held?
It was attached with tape to the front of the TV tray that was sitting in front of me. I was sitting on a folding chair. So, yeah. So it's clearly not advertising. It's also in the exemptions of the AMC. So they're already doing this. They're already looking through the 6,600 laws that they have here locally to try to find something to arrest me.
Yeah, but by the same token, you're running around poking them in the eye all the time, right?
So?
Right?
No, I'm actually pointing out their inconsistency. I'm pointing out the areas where they're not.
Okay, I don't agree with you. I don't agree with most of what you say.
Okay,
I just don't. As a private citizen, a taxpayer, if somebody's, my feeling is somebody's pooping on the street, they should be hauled off to jail for a period of time.
That is a law on the books already. Yeah.
Well, that's not happening, is it? Okay, let's come on. I'm waiting for call to be put on hold here.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Are you still there? I guess they're gone. Anyway, our listener line number 360-533-5259. We're going to take a break, and then we'll be back with Mike from Blind Justice.
Let's look at who started that. Are we supposed to not defend ourselves?
Yeah, this time reminds me a lot of the 60s. It's not quite as violent. But
sure, yeah.
Free Talk Live.
Yeah.
Solid hours. Free Talk Live Saturday. 4 p.m.
It is interesting how things are cyclic like that,
Well, yeah, back then, I mean, you had 2 Kennedys shot, killed. You had a governor shot, almost killed.
Yep.
What's an assassination?
MLK.
Pardon?
MLK.
Well, yeah.
Malcolm X. Yeah.
Malcolm X did not surprise me as much because there was a lot of violence surrounding him. But,
his rhetoric was a little more volatile.
Right, but Martin Luther King Jr., that was nuts.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that.
Yeah.
I mean, I was in shock, and then I was in shock with Kennedy, and then I was watching the California primary, and Robert Kennedy gave a speech, goes out, and 2 minutes later, he's shot in the head.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's KBKW's Coffee Talk. It's 7:49, and let's go to our listener line. Hi, you're on the air. Hi. Okay.
Sure. Well, have you been attacked since any of those times that you walked out from your office? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I sure. What right do you think you have is being violated? Where is that in the Constitution?
That you have the right to feel safe?
Yeah.
Why should that even be in the Constitution for a right to feel safe?
Well, because we're talking about sensibilities, and sensibilities, it's really hard to legislate on sensibilities because everybody has a different line where that is. Yeah. Okay, yeah, well, I recommend engaging with people, talking with people. No. What if they're off doing their own thing and they're not engaging with you, then just keep walking to your car. But if somebody's engaging with you,
if you're in a city, you shouldn't have to put up with that. See, you're defending that, and that's
No,
absurd.
I'm not defending
Yes,
that.
you are.
How so?
What you just told her? Well, if it wasn't violent, they should have a right to do that. No, they don't. They shouldn't have a right to go have sex in an alleyway in a city where people can observe it or take a poop.
Right. No, I'm not saying anybody has a right to do that. I'm asking what rights. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, well, I've talked to a couple friends that have shared the same thing, and I hear that people are afraid, and I absolutely empathize with that. And so when I talk to people that are that have fear for something, then the question is, where is the fear coming from? We need to get to the root of the fear, and if it's not based on any actual tangible threat, that is presented.
You talk mumbo jumbo.
How so?
Right now,
It's the sensibilities. It depends on the.
What do you mean by sensibilities? You can throw this stuff out till hell freezes over, and it doesn't mean anything.
No, actually, like if you have an emotional response to something, then it helps.
If somebody is taking a crap near your business or is sleeping in your business, they shouldn't be there. Why are they there? Why don't they go crap down near the waterfront? Why don't they sleep down there in Tent City instead of sleeping in front of your business? How can you say that they have a freedom to do that, but she doesn't have a freedom to question why she doesn't feel safe and so on and so forth? I mean, well, it's nothing violent, but what do you call that?
I didn't say they had the right to do that. I was simply saying that we don't have a right to feel certain things. We can't legislate on sensibilities. So we're talking about how do you respond to fear, and I would say you need to look towards the fear.
But you're saying then that she shouldn't feel upset and she should just let that go.
No, I'm not saying that.
Yes, you did. You said it right here on the air.
No, I did not.
You said it right on your Facebook page.
Right. We can play back the video if you want. I did not say she shouldn't feel something. I said if she feels something, then she needs to turn. She's asking for my advice. When I have an emotion, any emotion, I turn towards that emotion and say, where is this emotion coming from? So I can understand myself. I can understand my reaction to the world around me. And if it's, yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. No, you're right. And so the thing with that, if you're asking for my advice is to, if you're confident enough to talk to the individual and say, hey, I don't know if you're aware of what you're doing.
Well, of course they're aware they're doing it.
No, well, that's not necessarily. If somebody's high, out of their mind, they may not be fully aware, right? So that's part of the problem. Is
I think part of the problem is they do it just to do it, and then say, hey, look at this.
Yeah, but I think we can address things, human to human, and say, hey, please don't do this here. Please find this.
Do you think that would do any good?
Absolutely, yeah. And treating people with respect, I think, will go a long way.
Okay,
so.
But crapping in their business, peeing on their window—that's not treating people with respect.
Right.
Okay? So why don't you get on their case? Why don't you go and get on the case of these people that are down there and say, look, let's figure out a way to make this work.
Yeah, my number. I'd love to put our number and our information on our page. So if anything that's happened, you absolutely call me, and I will go and talk to somebody. But I have not witnessed it. So if I witness something like that, then I do address it.
But if you don't witness it, then it didn't happen. Is that what you're saying?
No, not at all. But
that's kind of sounds like what you just said.
No, so I'm very careful with my words, Doug, and
not as careful as you think.
Okay, well,
that's where the mumbo jumbo stuff comes in.
Well, you have to be able to say exactly what I've said, and
but you know but you just words. A lot of this is words.
Yes.
One of the sensibilities, you have to look inside. No, you have to look outside. You have to look here. You have to look there.
So words don't matter?
It depends on how you use them, and I don't think.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, no. Well, again, what right do you think is being trampled?
God, oh.
Yeah.
Oh. No.
Right. Well, so I absolutely advocate for the rights of everybody, but the rights are enumerated. If you're talking about legal rights, then you have to have a legal precedent. You have to say any court has said that where any court or any legislation says that you have the right to feel a certain way, and if you can cite that, you know. We're okay. Again, that goes into where is that right enumerated? What amendment?
Okay, there's the mumbo jumbo. Where is that right enumerated? What the hell does that mean?
It just simply means that
it means nothing.
No, I'm not.
Well, then what are you saying?
Sorry.
She doesn't understand you any more than I do.
Well, you keep interrupting, Doug, so it's really hard to have.
Well, no, I'm just showing you. Because nobody's ever challenged you like this, and I am.
What you would challenge me like?
Challenge of how you speak, what you're trying to say, because it sure as hell doesn't make sense half the time.
Well, would you like to try to restate what I've said, and I'll tell you if you've said it?
Oh, restate! You can go on archives. You can listen to the whole damn show, and both calls and this.
Right.
But I'm just saying, I can't make any sense out of what you say half the time. Seriously.
Well, it sounds like you're not listening.
Oh, I'm listening, all right. And I make my living with words. I make my living. This is how I get paid to do this.
Well, what is
so I know how to recognize things.
So let's define a right then. Let's define what a right means, because I think
evidently a right means you can poop and pee on somebody's business, and that's the end of it. They shouldn't take offense to it.
No, let's actually take a legal definition for a right.
Oh, okay, here we go, Mumbo.
Well, what's the legal definition about peeing on a window?
Well, let's see if that's in the Constitution. Well, it's not in the Constitution, so I guess you can pee on the window.
So I don't understand. Are you advocating for rules and laws or not?
I don't know what you're advocating for.
Well, I'm asking you. Are you advocating for rules and laws?
You're the one that's being challenged here.
Right, and so I'm asking: Are you advocating for rules and laws where the people should follow those or not? It sounds like you are.
What I'm hearing is I'm not even making sense exactly out of this question that you're giving me.
It's a simple question. Do you think that people should follow rules and laws?
Absolutely.
Okay, so those things should be defined, right? So that people know exactly what they're supposed to follow.
So it should be written everywhere that people shouldn't pee here, you shouldn't pee there, you shouldn't crap here, you shouldn't crap there, you shouldn't sleep here, you shouldn't. And if they don't have those rules laid out, you can do anything you want.
No, I just
Is that what you're saying?
No, I just want you to be consistent.
There you go again. Consistent how?
Because you're saying that the definition, a legal definition, is mumbo jumbo. But if
what you're saying and how you're saying things, it's hard to discover what in the hell you're talking about.
Right. It's exactly why we have to define things, define terms. What is a right? And if you're saying
there's some more mumbo jumbo for you.
There's a definition. There's a legal definition.
Yeah, this whole thing is mumbo jumbo.
There's a legal definition for this and a legal definition for that.
What does that mean? That might mean something to you, but I don't think you're communicating it very well. Anyway, we're going to wrap things up for this half hour, and then we've got Trash Talking at 9 o'clock.
This is your source for news, information, programs.
I mean, you got to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you'll stand up in city council. I can't make sense out of half the shit you're saying.
Well, what exactly do you not understand?
Because it's basically just bunch of words.
Yeah, but
I make my living doing this.
but words have meanings. So.
No, you did not have a legitimate answer for that woman. You didn't. That's why she was so confused about what you're trying to say.
I was trying to answer, and you get interrupted. Yeah.
No, because you weren't making any sense. But nobody's told you that.
That's because you didn't allow me to finish the sentence.
But it doesn't make any sense.
It's hard.
You could go
yeah.
on and on and on, and it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to understand if you don't take the time to understand, right? If you can't.
No, you just throw out words. You have this little style that you use, and you're not making yourself very clear. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I got. Now you can come back, but you got me a little irritated.
Okay. Well, it's definitely not my intention, Doug.
No, but if you want to come back,
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
In Thailand, one of the divers working on the rescue of 12 members of a beach.
So that's it. We're good. We're
done.
All right. Cool. Let me.
Hey, you want to come back?
Yeah. Let me try to turn this thing off.
Teammates of the boys who didn't go on the trip, but who have been in.
One of the things I mentioned.
I mean, I've gotten in